Hi everyone, I'm PPE and this is the Peso Pro episodes where we talk about money management tips and peso tricks. Today, we're gonna talk about one of the more popular trading platforms that have opened up in the Philippines quite recently. You've probably heard about eToro. eToro is a social trading platform that has been more widely accepted and more commonly used in the Philippines because it allows you to actually trade multiple types of investments like stocks, or different kinds of ETFs or exchange traded funds, or even cryptocurrencies and commodities like oil, silver, and gold. In this video, we're gonna talk about eToro basics and talking about how do you even open an account, what can you do in it, and we're gonna talk about some of the key features that eToro has. If you're interested to learn more about eToro, feel free to subscribe to the channel because we're gonna talk about different types of things that eToro can do and how it can help you in your investment journey. But first things first, let's answer what is eToro, and probably eToro would describe themselves as a trading platform that incorporates a social element into the way you trade. Think about it as like an Instagram of trading, where you can probably find influencers like fashion models or the guy you follow, his outfits on whatever he wears to work or that kind of stuff. In Instagram, what you would see are influencers who would try to share how they deal with their lives and in some cases influence you to actually either follow them or to buy this certain product or to try this certain service. eToro has this social element embedded into the trading platform. In the traditional way, trading platforms are very cerebral or very logical. You would go in, you will be given tools to buy and sell certain kinds of investments, and that's roughly it. In eToro, there's a social element where you can actually find other users like yourself and find users who you like their investment style and you can actually copy the way they trade. Think about eToro as sort of like a Facebook, Instagram for trading. They have this brilliant and actually quite cool concept called as copy trader. Copy trader is exactly what it says. It's a tool where you can find a person in eToro and try to see how this person actually invests. Heck, you can even find your friend in eToro, and if you are convinced that he or she is doing well, you can actually copy that person's portfolio, and in return, you're gonna mimic all of the things that that person is doing. Meaning, every time a person buys or sells their investments in stocks, crypto, whatsoever, you're technically following exactly what they're doing. This changes the game because for so long, trading and thinking about stock or crypto trading has been very difficult because people often feel like they don't know a thing about trading. And with the social element, as long as you can find someone you can probably trust or you like or however you feel about the certain profile, you can actually go into the app and just copy whatever that person is doing. Essentially, you're gonna participate in the person's gains or losses depending on the decision that that person makes. Think about this as socialized fund management, where essentially in the traditional way, a bank or an investment firm would have fund managers who will manage different amounts of assets like pension funds or people who buy into mutual funds. In this case, you're finding a person with a profile to copy, and that person effectively becomes your fund manager. Regardless of how social or Facebook-y or Instagram-y the fields of eToro is, this is still all trading and investing, so your capital is at risk. To get started, you can open an account in eToro via their mobile site or their mobile app, which actually performs quite well. What you will need to do is just click on the link to eToro. You can use my referral link and we'll both get $50 on your account and my account when you sign up. It's totally optional for you to use this. You can also go to eToro's website if you prefer not to get $50 from it. Once you hit the link, just follow the prompt, and what you will be asked to do will be to identify certain basic information like your full name, details like address, phone number, the whole likes, and it will also ask you to prepare different kinds of documents. Particularly, they would ask for a government ID, passports, or the more stable, more reliable government IDs like the UMID or the Unified Multipurpose ID that the SSS provides are the preferred information that they would need so that you can create an account. You would also be asked to identify your objectives and your trading experience via a questionnaire. So feel free to answer that very honestly so that eToro's algorithm can also suggest what type of investments are really suitable for your own risk profile and investment experience. The next piece would be to complete your profile, and this may take about a day or two for your profile to be confirmed if there are differences in the IDs that you submitted. But essentially, once that's done, you can also now put in your minimum deposit, which in eToro's case in the Philippines, as of this video, is about $200 or roughly 10,000 pesos. You can deposit in a variety of ways. The most common ones would be to use a debit card, and you can use even your GCash MasterCard if you have that. You can also use PayPal or your local banking access. For me personally, I had been using my BPI and Union Bank accounts, and they have been doing quite well and are very reliable, especially in the daytime. In the nighttime, when there are downtimes or upgrades in their system, there may be a bit of a lag, or you can probably not even select them at all. So just keep that in mind. Now that you're done setting up your account, you now have about $200 in your account in eToro. What you would see on the upper left-hand side is you would see the word real, which means that you're actually dealing with your real portfolio at this point. If you click on the arrow, you will also see virtual as an option, and this virtual portfolio actually gives you access to a virtual portfolio of a whopping $100,000. This is fake money that you can play around with, especially if you're trying to learn the trends or if you're just trying out features. It's a good way to test the system out, especially if you're new and if you just want to play around with the options. At least here, you're technically using fake money to learn the system and you're not putting any of your capital at risk. I personally use this as well to identify some trends from traders or certain kinds of investments, or in some cases, trying out a new feature that I have never seen before so that I don't actually put my money at risk when I'm testing it out. I personally suggest that you use eToro on a mobile device only when you're in the go and if you're very sure on what trades you want to take. But if you're more in the land of trying to understand what the tool can do, their website is actually best done using a laptop or a PC because it just gives you a better screen and you can play with the more advanced features of the website as well. On the left-hand side, you will see watch list, which basically is a list of stocks, commodities, crypto, ETFs, or indices that you want to watch. At the onset, eToro will already show you the most commonly viewed assets or stocks or cryptos in your default watch list. You can easily change the watch list by either taking it away or finding for the ticker symbols in the search bar above and just adding that to a watch list. You can add 50 different items to a watch list, and if you need more, you can always create more watch lists so that you can probably have one for a specific reason. I personally keep all of my US stocks in one watch list and put in all of my cryptocurrency things in another watch list so that I see them all in one place. The second option on the left panel will be portfolio, and this really truly means the portfolio that you currently have. As of now, if you just open the account and put in the $200 into your account, your portfolio page will be technically blank. Once you've invested into the security you want to invest in, then it will show up in your portfolio and you would see the profit or loss, what's the current buy-sell price, and how much you've actually invested into that stock. The newsfeed brings the social element into eToro. It's essentially, when you click on newsfeed, you will see different posts from different users on the stocks that you either had in your watch list or in your portfolio. So you will be able to see what people are posting about, and you can probably take that as input into your investing decision. Again, don't be fooled by just having people tell you, okay, buy this, and then you just go buy. Always do your due diligence, because like Facebook and Instagram, these are random strangers on a mobile platform, and if you really want to risk capital, I still strongly advise that you really do your own research before you do so. On the left panel, you also see the Discover subheader, which you will have trade markets and copy people. This is where you can actually find the social element of eToro more brought to life. In trade markets, you will be able to see the different kinds of things that you can invest on. You can see indices, ETFs, commodities, stocks, and cryptocurrencies all in one place, and you will even be able to see what are the biggest winners and losers across the platform in any given day. It is a great way for you to learn the breadth of the services of eToro, and you can find what kinds of investments can you actually choose from. Copy People will also lead you to a landing page where you would have all of the people that are actively managing funds for other people. In Copy People, you can find different kinds of profiles like promising traders who have had recent success and are gaining momentum in the assets that they manage, and there can also be the ones that are trending traders, which are the ones that are being talked about often in the platform, and they are boosted so that you can see them once you land. Again, don't fall for just because a lot of people copy the specific person doesn't mean that that person is an expert or a pro. And so I would still really urge you to look into that person's portfolio and try to understand what that person is doing so that you can actually make a sound decision. Stay tuned for the later part of this video where I'm gonna talk about some tips on what you can take so that you can find traders, and what are some of the reminders that you have to give yourself when you're deciding on who to copy. Opening in 2006 and now with 5 million users in its platform, it's easy to find different types of unique behaviors and investing habits from different kinds of people. Now, one of the cardinal rules in copy trading is to not be a sheep. Yes, you've heard it right. And what this means is basically don't just follow the herd just because people follow this one person. In a lot of cases, it's very, very tempting to follow or copy a certain person because this person has maybe like a million different kinds of copiers. But again, you never really truly know what's the reason behind that person's claim to fame, if that person really was probably doing really well, or if they were just mentioned by a famous person. You will never be able to tell. So here are a few tips on what to look for in people to copy so that at least you're guided when you're making a decision. Number one would be to check their feed. In their profile. Similar to any social network, people can actually post maybe articles or a long post as to what they plan to do with the managed funds that they currently have. If you copy into this fund, you're essentially almost like buying into a mutual fund that is being managed by this person. So it's important to understand what are the different kinds of beliefs that this person has. Is the person bullish on a certain industry, or is the person very fearful of cryptocurrency and has vowed never to involve himself in cryptocurrency, and the likes of that. In their profiles, people will typically say what they plan to do, how long they plan to hold this certain stock or certain position, and they will also probably say when they're gonna add more funds into their portfolio. So those can all be helpful tips so that you can probably tell if you are more or less in the same frame of mind as that person. The second tip that I would give you is to actually find traders who don't have really ridiculous returns, especially with the recent things that happened in GameStop and now cannabis stocks or even crypto. The jump in earnings can actually be very, very skewed for certain traders, especially if they were riding the Wall Street bets craze. If you haven't learned anything on the GameStop stock, or if you want to understand what happened, I'll link to that video in the box here above and in the comment section below so that you're able to watch that video right after this one. Now, if you find a person with ridiculous amounts of returns, it can just be maybe one of two things. One is that person really was very, very lucky and was able to invest in the right stocks at the right time. And so being able to maintain that luck streak over a long period of time will be very, very difficult. Or that person was actually able to anticipate some of the moves that maybe Redditors or groups similar to Wall Street Bets had at the right time and was able to bank in on the gains. Now, this can be a good strategy if you want that kind of risk, but I personally would suggest to find the ones that have more stable returns over the long period of time. Because again, in trading, if you lose some times and if you maybe have a loss or two in certain positions, that's actually more normal than what it seems. And this may be counterintuitive because I should be telling you to find the person who has the most gains so that you can grow your money, but no one really can time the market very, very accurately in a long period of time. So some cases, the ridiculous returns that you will see can probably be equated to the amount of risk that that person actually took. It's not always perfect, but that's a red flag. The last tip I will give you would be to find a trader who actually is very transparent in the methodology and in the logic that he applies into the portfolio. You would want to copy someone who you at least understand the broad strokes of how he or she invests. If you really don't know anything of this person, or if that person really doesn't share the thoughts that come into the portfolio, then it would be really, really hard to assess if the person is the right fit for your risk profile, more so if the person really has a trading strategy to begin with. What you can do is to go through the person that you want to learn more about and click on the profile, and under the stats column, you will actually be able to see the performance of that person over the past 3 years. You will be able to see how much gains happen in a certain month or losses from that specific profile. You can also look at two other key things in this view. You can take a look at the trader's risk score, which means the redder it gets, the higher the risk this trader is doing. Or if the greener it gets, then it means that it's generally on safer instruments and it may be more of a low risk, low return kind of approach. You can also check on the max drawdown, which just means this is the maximum that the trader has been down in this specific period. Once you're convinced that the person is the right investor for you to copy, you can just easily buy it like you would buy any other stock. Click on copy and understand the minimum required to copy that specific person. The minimums can vary depending on how it's set up, so just make sure that you understand the minimum. Some would go up to as high as $1,000 to actually start copying that portfolio. You can also add the person to your watch list just like any other stock. And while you still have not copied the person, you can actually take a look at that person's performance in your watch list so that you can be able to keep tabs on him or her to check the progress and maybe eventually decide whether you want to buy into that fund or not. We talked a lot on how you can copy traders on the platform and what's available on the left side panel. In eToro, you can also buy shares, cryptocurrencies, indices, and commodities, whether it's the underlying asset or a contract for difference or a CFD, which allows you to actually participate and try to benefit from the price fluctuations that are there in that specific trading security. You can buy this by looking for the ticker symbol. For example, if you were to buy an Apple share, just search for AAPL, which is Apple Corporation's ticker symbol. Click on trade and put in the amount that you want to buy in the Apple share and click on trade. You can also use the order button so that you can select the amount in which you want to trigger a purchase. Meaning, for example, if the price right now is $130 and you only want to buy an Apple share at $125, you can actually set an order and select $125 as the rate, input the amount that you want to buy, so that eToro will only trigger whenever that price point is met by the stock, if at all. If it doesn't meet that amount, then your order will continue to be an open order until the order is fulfilled or you close it altogether. We've covered a lot on eToro, and I hope this gives you a brief overview as to what the app can do. I promise to upload more videos as I actually learn more about eToro. Right now, I use this as my primary source of trading different kinds of stocks in different stock exchanges outside of the Philippines, and even do some crypto investing as well. I hope this was helpful to you, and if you decide to start eToro, the barrier for entry for eToro is very, very low. You only need a government ID and about $200 to start trading. And after that, you can even use the virtual money in the platform to try to learn more about investing and trading. What you can do is you can put in money and try to just really learn as you go and put in only the money that you can afford to lose. After all, investing in eToro really will expose the money that you put in into risk of losing your capital. If you want to learn more about platforms like eToro or eToro itself, please subscribe to the channel so that you will be able to see future videos or hit the notification bell so that you actually have a reminder when the future videos are up. If this video was helpful to you, I'd highly appreciate it if you can click on the like button so that I will know that you actually like these kinds of videos and can produce more videos in the end. If you have any questions, feel free to hit them in the comment section below, and I'll see you on the next video.